welcome to Honeybee Tales. On today's edition, I'm going to be reading A Monster or a Microwave by Tephra Miriam. This book is an out-of-this-world, whimsical, colorful, and rhyming tale that encourages a big imagination, friendship, silliness, being just who you are, and all things fun. A Monster or a Microwave by Tephra Miriam. I was sitting in my kitchen, just Mr. Fridge and me, chomping on what I'd say was a lovely fruit medley. Watermelon, pineapple, cantaloupe, and pears. Yum! I gobbled all of it up so fast that I got some in my hair. Oh no! Have you ever gotten food everywhere and even in your hair? Well, Mr. Fridge laughed and laughed until his belly hurt. Tears came out of his fridge eyes and laughter from his throat. I grabbed Mom's stool and pulled it over until it touched the sink, 'cause Mom will make me wash my hair, so I washed it in a blink. Whew, I said as I climbed down and sat upon the floor. Suddenly I heard a cheesy growl, followed by a very loud roar. What is it? I crept around and sniffed my nose like I'd seen my dog Fanny do. I even got down on all fours and found my missing tub of glue. You ever find something when you're looking around on the floor? I heard a monster type of laugh and slowly stood to my feet. That's when I saw this giant creature, and it even winked at me. Is that a microwave or a monster? I thought quietly in my mind. My hands grew cold, my skin turned pale, and a tingling went up my spine. Eek! The monster smiled a cheesy, very greasy type of smile. Look at it. Oh my goodness. She said, "Hello!" And as she spoke, she raised her pink eyebrows. I could not speak, think, or move. I simply stood and stared. She said, "Don't be shy. Come over here. I love your pretty hair." She seems nice. I closed my eyes because I thought, if I can't see her, maybe she can't see me. When I opened them, I was surprised. I was sitting in a giant tree. Well, how did she get there? Wow, such a beautiful place, too. This world was bright and full of trees and almost like a jungle. I saw Mr. Fridge and Miss Fork and Spoon running from my teddy bear named Snuggle. Well, what a fun place did she go to? That looks amazingly funny. And the Fork and Spoon, oh my goodness. I looked down at what appeared to be a very rainforest-looking kitchen. That's when I saw Mrs. Microwave walking with a mission. She stopped and seemed to look around as if she were looking just for me. I then heard a quiet shh sound coming from Mrs. Tree. Mrs. Tree whispered, "Don't breathe or think or even blink until that monster passes." I held on tight as Mrs. Tree slipped by her like molasses. My goodness. Can you imagine your kitchen turning into a rainforest? It's just so crazy. Oh my goodness, look at this. When Mrs. Tree was far away, she started to run faster and faster. She ran by bowls, plates, and cups, and even a dancing saucer. I yelled, "Where are we going?" Trying hard not to be frightened. Mrs. Tree said, "I know someone that can help us, but it's difficult to find him. He's a slippery, foamy, and sudsy fellow that can beat this greasy monster. If we don't find him soon and clean her up, it will be a total disaster." Oh my goodness, they better get to work so they can find out how to get to safety. Look at this beautiful page right here. Such beautiful colors, the mountain in the background, the beautiful sea, and it's called Bubble Land. So exciting. As Mrs. Tree ran, I got to see the spectacular kitchen jungle. Everything sparkled with beautiful colors, and my tummy was tickled with laughter. I bounced on Mrs. Tree's soft leaves and laughed until I cried. "We are here," she yelled, and I held my breath Ugh, at the beautiful sight. Bubble Land, I read out slowly because I just learned to read. Mrs. Tree said, yes, Bubble Land is where we are indeed. Would you like to go there to Bubble Land? It looks so fun. Wow, look at this. Hints of pink, blue, white, and green. Very surely I could see. Oh, the bubbles were spectacular, all dancing just for me. Look, Miss Tree shouted. Mr. Bubble is over there. She put me down on a pile of bubbles that felt as soft as air. Don't you just love to pop bubbles and watch them floating in the air? Hello. I heard a very deep type of bubbly voice did say. Hello, I said as I kind of smiled in a shy type of way. What brings a pretty girl like you to Bubble Land so far away from home? I said, I have a monster issue, sir, that I can't handle alone. Do you think he's going to help her? I hope so. Mr. Bubble nodded happily and smiled his bubble smile. I can help, don't worry now. It will all be fine in just a while. I smiled so big that my face hurt, but I simply couldn't stop. There you go, Mr. Bubble said. What a lovely smile you've got. He's such a nice Mr. Bubble, isn't he? I thought we had to rush and leave, but Mr. Bubble said, stay and play. So we sang and danced and laughed and played until we stopped for lemonade. The lemonade was so yummy and lemony, I asked for more and more. I smacked and licked my lips until it was surely time to go. Don't you just love some fresh squeezed lemonade? You can make so many different types of lemonade there. We set out on our journey to find out where the monster lived. We passed Bath Time Land, Laundry Town, and a big cave where dust bunnies hid. So it's all of the different places that you can find in your house. When we finally got there, the monster's lair was sticky, gooey, and greasy. Yuck! It smelled like old cheese, with garlic and fish and moldy old bologna. Mrs. Tree said goodbye to us before we finally headed in. Mr. Bubble and I waved our hands and flashed just one last grin. Oh my goodness. Look at all of the bubbles. Such a fun time she's having. Mr. Bubble took the lead, and where he stepped, he made it better and better. By the time we were halfway in, the cave was starting to smell much fresher and fresher. That's amazing. Maybe all the bubbles are cleaning it up. We crept and cleaned and crept some more until we heard a sound. Well, what is it? Mrs. Microwave was at the door. Her feet were pounding the ground. She looked at us with greasy eyes and then began to growl. I wanted to run away and hide, but Mr. Bubble said, stand your ground. Mrs. Microwave sniffed and wiggled her nose and noticed her cave was clean. She started to shake, her eyes grew wide, and then she began to scream. How dare you come and clean my cave? Her cheesy mouth spoke loud. You never used to be this way, I yelled very strong and proud. Mrs. Microwave stopped and looked at me, amazed and surprised. I remember now, she said with a sniff and slowly realized my mouth wasn't always full of cheese. And then she began to cry. Don't worry, I said quietly and dried her bright yellow eyes. You won't smell any more like stinky cheese, I said, just like a song. Mr. Bubbles began to work, scrub-a-dub-dubbing. When he stepped aside, we all said, wow, and Miss Microwave was smiling. Mrs. Microwave sang and danced and laughed just like she used to do. We all joined in and said, hooray, and sang along with her too. After that, I sat and tried to nap, tired from all my dancing. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I saw the water in my kitchen running. How is the water in her kitchen still running, and how long has it been running? I looked up and saw a wonderful sight. My dad looking down at me. I wiggled my nose and I said to him, "I no longer smell like stinky cheese." He laughed and looked at me and said, "You are such a silly goose. I cleaned that dirty microwave and now we can all use." You fell asleep on the kitchen floor, tired from all your playing. He picked me up, looked at me, and said, "Now what else should we be exploring?" So the whole time, she was just imagining everything. So if you want to join Zuwena in this adorable story of a monster or a microwave by Tephra Miriam, you can purchase the book below in the link in the description, and I hope you'll like and subscribe. See you next time for Honeybee Tales.